there, EDC 102. So I was supposed to video record the class the other day when we had our Zoom class, which I totally forgot to do because, hey, I am who I am. So what I am doing right now is giving you just a tiny video tutorial on the major project, the Using Research to Inform Instruction project. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you go under Assignments, and then you go down here to Use Research to Inform Instruction, and you click on that, you should come to the assignments. I have to do it this way, but this is what you'll see there, give or take. Alright, so you want to look first at what the project is, and I will talk you through it a little bit right now. So, Using Research to Inform Instruction, basically you're going to pick a district in the state of Rhode Island. Any school district you want, but I definitely think it will be easier for you to accomplish this task if you stick to one of the urban or urban ring districts that I have listed here. So, you have Providence, Pawtucket, and Central Falls. Those are basically the urban core. And then you also have the possibility of using Woonsocket, Newport, Warwick, East Providence, Johnston, West Warwick, or Cranston. Those are all also considered urban districts in Rhode Island. So, pick one. Doesn't matter which one. And then basically you're going to learn about, for each district, kind of what they're doing well and kind of what they need to improve on. So, a little bit of both of those things. So, once you do that research, you're going to write a paper. It's roughly 8 to 10 pages. You can go a little bit above 10, but I would not go above, say, 12, mainly because it will ruin my grading life. Also, this is due fairly late in the semester, so if you want your grades to get put in on time, definitely don't go above 12. But 8 to 10 is fine. Shouldn't need anything more than that. So basically you're going to do some research using some websites that I'll kind of go over and talk to you about, in which you will tell me the answers to these questions to start with. So part 1 is a minimum of 3 pages. You're going to tell me what areas of educational need are there in Rhode Island, what areas of educational need are in the district you chose, and then what areas of educational need are in the schools within that district. So you'll pick a couple of schools within that district to talk about. So questions 4, 5, and 6 are the flip sides of that. It's what seems to be working in Rhode Island, what's working in the district that you chose, and what's working in the schools within that district that you chose to talk about. So what do we need to fix? Rhode Island, district, school level, and then what is working in the Rhode Island district and school level. Right? So, you can find all the info you need pretty much in these 3 websites. There are some others you can take a look at, but I will show you these so you can have a sense of what's on them. So this is Rhode Island Kids Count. It's a pretty good little website for learning about all kinds of things that, you know, can affect our students' learning. So if you scroll down a little ways, you'll find the fact book. The fact book is probably your best place to start. So scroll down to the table of contents. If you look at the table of contents, you'll notice there's an entire section on education. So, you know, it's everything from kids enrolled in early interventions to, like, how many kids are eating school lunches, what are we doing about multilingual learners, what's our high school graduation rate, all that stuff is right here. So this is a good source to look at. And then another website you're gonna maybe want to check out is the report card from RIDE, which is the Rhode Island Department of Education. So this one is actually perfectly laid out for our project because you can look at the school report card, the district report card, or the state report card. So if you come here and you click go, it will show you some data about the state of Rhode Island. You'll notice right away we're not doing so great in either ELA or math or science. Not so much. Not everybody's graduating. There's some issues here. So you can also click on each one of these and it will take you to like a more detailed set of statistics and info about it. So that's a thing you could check out. For the state level, you got the same thing for the district. Just a heads up, charter schools are considered their own districts. So you will see some charter schools on this list. For some reason, the list is not showing up, which is very annoying. But if you look at this list here, you'll notice there are some charter schools. But charter schools are considered their own district. So, like, if Blackstone Academy Charter School is in Pawtucket, it's not actually part of the Pawtucket district, so that's not really a school you could choose to talk about if you decided Pawtucket was your district. Because it's its own district, technically. So there's that. And then you could also look up whatever school you want. And then click go, and it's going to basically take you to the same thing a little while ago, but for that individual school. So, it's perfect. State, district, school, everything you need. So feel free to take a look at that. Another place you're going to want to maybe check out is census.gov to learn a little bit about, like, the nation and how things are going nationwide. So the idea there is to kind of compare Rhode Island to the rest of the country, basically. So you can do that. I would suggest, instead of just clicking on census.gov, because that takes you to the generic census webpage, which has everything from the census, I would probably stick with one of these two right here. Either the statistics in schools or this one. One of those two will be a better thing for you. You can also check out nces.gov if you want to learn some facts about schools around the U.S. So that website is there for you as well. So, things you might talk about in the Rhode Island section. You might talk about our income and compare that to how the U.S. is doing overall. Our demographics, how many people of color do we have? How many people who don't speak English as a first language do we have compared to the rest of the U.S.? Health and safety measures compared to the rest of the U.S. Any of those are fair game to talk about in the Rhode Island section. So when you get ready to look at the districts, you definitely want to look at that report card and the kids count data. And then also NCES has a whole page that's just for district searching. So some things you might discuss about your district are performance, like are they doing well in math and science, ELA, whatever. Funding, like how are they doing with that? Is it good? Do they need more? Demographics, accountability, and like spending. What are they doing with the money they do have? So, and then if you want to look at data for the schools, again, you have the report card and the NCES search. So pick 2 to 3 schools in that district to focus on, and then compare those schools with what you learned about the districts. So basically, you're going to look at all of these things right here for the 2 or 3 schools. So divide and conquer when you're doing the research, and you should get what you need. So part 2, which is 4 to 5 pages generally, is the part where you figure, now that you figured out what the problems are in Rhode Island, the district, and your schools, you're supposed to go through and research some programs that would help with those issues. So, we're not talking policy, we're not talking laws that the state government or whatever could make, or the federal government could make. We're not talking about teaching strategies. Okay, so it's not well, teachers could do this in their classrooms. Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about programs. So, for example, if one of the issues you found is that students in that area are poor and they are coming to school without food, and being hungry is messing up their education, then there's a program that I know exists at least in Pawtucket, and maybe in some other places too, where they bring like lots of canned food and like non-perishable food items to the school, and then they put them in backpacks, and then they give those backpacks to students to take home, so they have food at home. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about when I say a program, right? So do some looking around, do some research, find some programs that might directly affect the issues that you've outlined, and then write about it. So here's the thing: part one was group work. Part two is individual. So each person should research 2 to 3 programs on their own. I don't care if you somehow, unfortunately, end up searching up a program that someone else has searched up in your group. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Just so long as they're not all the same, it's probably fine. Right? So you're going to basically tell me about the programs. Like, what are they called? What do they do? And then the most important part is why you think that program will fix the issue you identified. So, use evidence to back up any claims you make. If you claim that this will fix the issue because it will provide students with food outside of school, then, tell me about that a little more. The students get to take the backpacks home, they have to bring the backpacks back later, whatever. So, you can use, for this part, you absolutely will have to use outside articles and websites. So you will not find this information on the websites that I gave you. This is stuff you're going to have to look up on your own. So, hear me when I say this. You do not have to cite the articles I gave you, because I gave you all the same articles. I get it. But if you bring in outside information, like you will have to do for this section, then you need to cite those articles. Or websites, whatever it is you got. I haven't been real picky about this in the past, but I am going to be picky about it this time. I need all of this in APA format. So if you're not familiar with APA, please ask me. I can absolutely point you in the direction of some resources. But most academic writing in the education field is done in APA format. So it is time you kind of got a feeling for what that looks like. So, part one, tell me what's wrong or what's going right in Rhode Island schools. Part two, pick out 2 to 3 programs and tell me about those programs. What do you think is happening with those? Can they be used to fix the issue that you spoke about? So, first part, the group writes together. Part two, you write solo as an individual. And when it comes time to turn it in, you're all turning in your own individual papers. So if there are 4 people in the group, I know that part one is going to be the same for all 4 people, which is fine. But part two will not be. Part two will be different for everybody. Hope that makes sense. If not, please, email me and let me know. And we can talk about it. Or see me after class, set up online office hours, whatever you need to do. So that's the assignment. If you go back a little bit, you'll notice there's some stuff here. One of them is an example paper. It is an A paper, so it's definitely a good example if you want to take a look at what that looks like. We have also a sample outline for the research paper. So feel free to use that as a template if you want to just go through and, let me real quick see if I can pull that up for you. Yeah, so feel free to use that as a template. It's literally laid out for you. If that's the way you want to do it, and make it outlined, that's fine. If you think laying it out some other way makes more sense, I'm open to that as well. So there's your possible outline. You also have the rubric here and links to those websites that I mentioned before. So let's talk about the rubric real quick. This video is getting long. Okay, so let me pull up the rubric for you. Right, here's your rubric. Make it a little bigger so I can see. Hey, there we go. So, basically the whole thing is out of 100 points. For 20 points, you're going to tell me about those areas of need in the community, Rhode Island, the district, and the school. You need to tell me of at least 4 to 5 areas of need, minimum. You can obviously talk about more if you want to. That's 20 points. And then the part where you tell me what's working, just give me 3 to 4 areas that are working. That's going to be worth 15 points. And then talk about what specialized programs would be beneficial. So this is part 2. Part 2 is the biggest section. It is the most points at 40. So definitely don't sleep on that section. Give me 5 to 6 programs. Sorry. I told you you were doing this individually and you only had to do 2 or 3 programs. So I'll change the rubric. So 2 to 3 programs for each person. That'll be 40%. And then outside sources. So for part 2, whatever websites you look up for programs, give me 5. At least 5 outside sources. So, and then you have to APA cite those. That'll be 5 points. And then 15 points remaining is quality of writing, grammar, and mechanics. I will tell you that a lot of you in the last paper that you turned in for me did not do what I told you to do, which was have your grammar and your spelling checked. So please definitely think about that before you turn this in, because 15 points is quite a bit to lose just because you didn't have someone look it over or do the spell check, right? You will have an opportunity to run it by me before you have to actually turn it in, so that should be fine. So that is the Research to Inform Instruction project. Basically, you have until 12/17, which is also pretty much the day of the final exam, if I remember correctly. So it's not as long away as that may seem like. It's a month and some change. So we're going to start working on this in class a little bit. Pretty much every week we'll have some time to work on this in class. But you will probably also have to work on it outside of class. So that's that. Yeah, basically everything I needed to tell you about. So, if you have questions about anything, I will post, for example, I will post the groups on Brightspace. We are basically going to work in the same groups we had for the last activity, the teaching strategies activity. If you have an issue with that for some reason, like you really don't need to be in that group again, then you should probably let me know, like email me or talk to me after class or whatever. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you in those same groups. I will post probably later today or tomorrow the groups so that you can know who's in your group. Right now, you can look under class list and see the group number that you're in, but you can't see who is in that group with you. So I will post a list on Brightspace. And that is pretty much it. So, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you later. Ciao. Bye-bye.